How can we keep the city pretty when our infants are on the streets, people? Get these kids a place to sleep.
I got something to say.
I got
something to say.
We're back again with I've Got Something to Say. And you guys listen, you know there's a huge problem in this city. And most people think it's those who do not have homes. But I found out that that's not the problem at all. The problem is those who are looking at the people without homes. So what we have today is something interesting. I want to open your eyes about the real people and how it really is living without a home. At this time, I'm going to ask my guests to introduce themselves. There you go.
Well, I'm the oldest, so I'm Richard Daniels.
Daniel?
Daniels.
I'm Willie.
Okay. You guys, can you begin just by telling me something that you know that society does not know about you, but yet they judge you all about who you are just because you're living without a home?
Well, just to look at me, or just to look at me downtown, you would not think that I'm college educated, that I'm articulate. I'm able to, to express myself in the manner that I do, because it's like looking from the outside, and they say never judge someone by their outward appearance, and so I get that a lot, until I open my mouth.
You know what? I have to agree with you, because just sitting here talking to you before the show started, I've learned that you're very intelligent and you seem like an educated man. How about yourself?
Well, it's like what he said. People want to judge a book before they even open it up and begin to read the book to see what the book's about and what the content is in it, because they see that I'm homeless, I'm a nobody.
How are you guys finding that the society is treating you guys just because of that? What do they do?
It's almost ironic to a fault. One day I was dressed, better than this, nicer than this, but it would happen to be in the part of the city where the homeless population is prevalent. And do you know that those people, they avoided me like the plague. Here I am, I had a nice little carry bag, nice shirt and tie, nice pair of pants, better pair of shoes than these. And they, because of where I was and because of who they thought I was, or more appropriately, more accurately, what they thought I was.
Well, what I found, because I get a chance to look at it from both sides, from what I see, they've got this fear about people who live without homes, and I've come to the conclusion that they treat their animals better than they treat you all. Do you guys find that out there?
Yes, it's true that they do treat the animals better than they do us. And the thing is, when they see us, the first thing they label us as criminals, barbarians, you name anything that you can think of that's bad for the homeless, this is what they categorize us as. And because you don't have on a suit and you ain't this, you ain't have cars, you're nobody.
It could be any time that I can be living without a home. So for people to look at you all and put you in this category because they feel like you're whatever it is, makes you feel some kind of way, really bothers me. What about the police department? How do they treat you guys?
Once again, it's not who you are, it's where you are and what you're doing at that moment, especially in that area between 17th, 16th, and 17th and Market and Island, or even Market and J Street for that matter. If you're in that element, so to speak, then you're up to something no good. And so it doesn't matter. I could be on my way walking to church, and I stop and talk to this man, because he may be standing in a group of people that's drinking. He's not drinking, I'm not drinking, but they're assuming that birds of a feather flock together.
So is there any police harassment or brutality going on?
That's on an everyday basis.
Explain.
Basically, they see a group of people standing together. I don't care where you at, they're going to approach that group of people that they're standing together, because then they're going to tell you that you're either drinking, you're either doing drugs, or you're either up to some type of criminal act, which consists of violence or whatever, and they categorize everybody like that. Everybody that's homeless is really not like that.
They're
Yeah.
normal people.
Yeah,
Just
they're regular, normal people, but we have a certain guideline that we set for ourselves that we go by. We don't cross that line. We don't cross that barrier, and this is where we stay at.
can you tell me about some of those barriers? Help me
Basic,
understand.
basically, barrier like if this man has something that I don't have. A lot of times people will get angry and go try to steal what he have. I have a rule that if it don't belong to me, don't put my hands on it.
Right.
So this is the area that I stay in.
Right. But doesn't that fall for everybody, even if you're homeless or not?
That
You
falls
shouldn't
for-
take nobody's stuff.
It
Get
falls
your
for
own stuff.
everybody, but it don't go like that, because you
Wow.
have people that get jealous of something that he might have that they don't got, but they want it. They don't have the sensibility to ask them, man, how did you get that? Where did you get it from? Can you tell me how to go about to get the same thing? They don't do that.
Right.
They figure, well, how he get it, and I ain't got it. I'm homeless too.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm sure that a lot of people are watching are wondering how two intelligent, handsome men like yourself end up where you are. Is there something you could share that tell us how you got there?
And here's the thing, Dr. Carroll. I'm a firm believer in taking responsibility for my actions. In my former life, if you will, I did drugs and alcohol and those types of things like that, and it caused me to make unintelligent decisions. Mm-hmm. It caused me to make illogical decisions. Hence, those decisions, they didn't lead me here, they brought me here. A lot of people say, oh, this led me to do this or this led me to do that. No, not so. I take responsibility that Richard Daniels did this. Hence, he lost this. He might have lost this along the way. He, because of his actions or decision-making, flaws in his decision-making, this happened. Now he's here. But the bottom line is now, where does he go from there? That's the
That's
point.
what's important. What about you?
What brought me there is because I was infatuated with what grown people was doing.
Wow.
When I was a kid, I was very infatuated with what the adults was
Never heard
doing.
that before. My whole
They-
50 years of living. That's pretty
They
good.
had fun. They was doing this.
Thank-
And I was on that point of,
Thank you.
if they do it, why I can't do it? And they tell me, don't do this, do as I say, not as I do. And it wasn't clicking with me on that at that present point in time.
Right.
So I went out because I seen the adults, what they was doing. And I wanted to be grown up too, because I thought I was a little man at that time.
So you just, when you say a
And
little man, what's a
I
little
thought
man?
I was a little grown man at that time,
Or what age was that?
about 9. So I decided to go out and hang out, and then I got tired of one day, just got up, and walked off from home, and that was it.
Did they come looking for you? Say, I'm
They-
going to whoop your behind if you don't come home, son.
They looked for me, but the problem they had was finding me. I was very good at hiding.
Wow. So have you guys tried or made any steps into changing the way that you're living? Or
I went through a whole lot of different other aspects and a whole lot of different avenues to get to the point where I'm in. So I had to end up going through the Rock Church.
I like that church.
Me too. I ended up going, it got to the point to where I couldn't live on the streets anymore due to the point of my health. And I couldn't be out on the street anymore. If I stay out there any longer than what I was, I'm going to die out there. So, die out there, there's nobody but me.
Right. Was it hard finding help? Is it hard for
Very
you finding
hard.
help?
Very hard, because you have to put in the footwork. You have to do everything. You have to do the walking. You have to call. You have to make sure that you keep these appointments. If you don't keep your appointments, you're back where you started
Now,
from.
is that with the Rock or is that with everybody that offers, say
that's
they
what-
offer?
Anybody that offer you anything, if they make an appointment for you, you must keep them appointments. You must be diligent at keeping your appointments.
So tell me, is the help genuinely helpful, or is the society or the system lacking something?
It's helpful on one hand and lacking on a whole lot of
And
other
that's
places.
where that's the piece I want to tap into. What do you think the system is lacking when it comes to those who don't have a place to live?
Well, I mean, this it looks simplistic, but when you look at the number of people who are out there, seen and unseen, you know, we tend to look at the people we can see, the people who are between those blocks that I mentioned a little earlier. But there are people who are living on the side of cliffs, living on the side of freeways, and the numbers are growing, you know, day by day in leaps and bounds. And so, you know, the system is literally overwhelmed with the number of people. I mean, people don't understand that you can be a step away. I'll give you an example without mentioning her name. A friend of mine, she was unable to pay her hotel bill where she was staying. Now she's got 1 foot, you know, across that line, being homeless. People think there's something that's drastic that has to happen for you to be homeless, and it's not like that. A financial change or a physical change or whatever the case may be. And so those numbers are so overwhelming, and the system's like it's a system overload with this thing.
We living in San Diego, California, where the sun and the beach is, and everything is just overwhelmingly expensive.
But see,
We've got our
Bingo.
seniors. My mind is saying we have seniors who only get a certain amount of money. Those
Bingo.
on disability
Yes.
are very limited. Social Security is very limited. And yet they get these checks. It's not you can't afford a place. Even what I've seen far as the low income apartments are still high.
That's the crux
And so
of it right there.
it's easy. And I've met people who fought for our country that's out there homeless, people with babies and children, and I think that's ridiculous
That's the
that
crux
don't
of
have
it.
a place to stay. And I believe we live in a city. They talk about how beautiful San Diego is, but then when you look at the sidewalk, people are just laid all. That's not beautiful. Beautiful to me is to see a clear sidewalk and everybody has a place to stay because the city or the mayor or somebody has stepped up and said, listen, we've got to give, even if it's not the most immaculate place, it's a place.
It can be done.
yeah,
Absolutely
I agree
right.
with that. What he said, it can be done. But see, here's the thing: when it comes time to the homeless, for years and years and years, they didn't want to be bothered with the homeless. They didn't care about the homeless. And their point was, look, we have a business over here. As long as they stay away from this business that I have, I don't care what he do over here. Just don't come here. And they never addressed the situation from the beginning, and they just let it sit there until it got out of hand and overwhelming. And now they want somebody to do something about the homeless. But then when you say, well, we got low-income housing, if I'm on a fixed income, they want me to make twice the income of that I make. If I get $900 and something, I have to make over $1,000 in order to double the income in order to stay somewhere. But this is low income. A low income housing state, they only get a third of what you make on your income.
And then they wonder why people lie and make these fake paycheck stubs to get in.
Right.
Because
That's
people
it.
then get desperate. They have to have a place to stay.
That's it.
And then they take folks to jail for stealing. But if you got a kid on the street and you don't have no money to feed them, then what are you going to do? If I'm a mother, I'll steal an apple to feed my baby if my baby's starving and I don't have it.
That's it.
So to me, it goes back to those who are in charge, those we
wanna do
voted
anything.
on, those who said these lies that they want to help in order
Are not
to
helping.
get the vote, but then they do other things, do buildings and potholes, and what about people?
Because we're not a priority.
We're not a priority, like you
We're
said.
not.
We're not a number one priority.
And how does
We're
that
a
make
nobody.
you feel to feel like you live in a society and they look at you as if you're a nothing? How does that feel?
Feels bad. It kind of really makes you get angry, but then there's nothing you can really do about it, so why get angry? The only thing I can do is put my problem in God's hand and keep pushing.
Right, and now that you brought God up, it says that it asks, am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, you are.
Yes, and yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
And that goes for even those who are shakers in this city, even like myself. And God holds us accountable.
Right.
We don't know if one day it'll be us. We don't know one day if it'll be our children, our sisters' kids, whatever it may be. Those of us who have places to stay and have the power to do something, we've got to be careful. Because God is watching us, and we're going to have to pay for everything we did not do that He said do, which was to look out for our brothers and sisters. What else would you like the world to know that they don't know about the homeless community?
And that's the backside of that. There are people out there. They're not asking for a palatial mansion. They're not asking for a 15-bedroom mansion. They're just asking for a roof.
Place over there.
They're just asking for somewhere where mothers out there. They're just asking for somewhere to raise. They don't understand the underlying things that happen. Possibly abusive home, or possibly financial things. They don't. People. There are people out there. We are not just out there with our legs crossed, with booze in our mouth and a pipe in our back pocket. And that. There are people out there who want to go back to. I'm 60 years old. I just want to get back to life. I want to be able to sit and watch my television. Right. I want to be able to, I cook. I want to be able to cook my own meal. I want this simple things. We're not asking for much. How can you have? How much are they paying for the new Chargers stadium? And I'm a Chargers fan. How much are they paying for that?
I don't even know a number that probably I've never seen in dollars.
Vote for him or her, because she's they're gonna make sure you've got a sports team stays in the city. Well, guess what? If you're gonna build it downtown, expect those people that you're trying to push out and ignore and pretend that they're not there.
Push back.
They're gonna be there, and they're not gonna be there to watch the game. They're gonna probably be sleeping on your property.
Wow. Well, if you guys had something to put out there to speak on behalf of those who are living without homes, to those who can make a difference, what would you ask for? And clearly,
I would ask for, you got people out there that are very talented. I mean, you'll be amazed how much talent is laying out on the street, going to waste. It's very shocking to see the people that have educations, that's very smart, they have no jobs, they have no place to live, none of that. They only think if you got a child and you're homeless, as long as that child is not abused, dirty, have not been fed, they're not going to take the child. They're going to leave the child out there on the street with the mother. A lot of them kids out there on that street, I've personally raised myself. And my thing is telling the homeless, you know we got this talent. Get up. Stand up, get up, and go voice your opinion.
Right.
Move.
Now, I've talked to people, because we're going to talk about this a little later, because we're putting together a march to where those who are out there will have an opportunity to use their voice. But in talking to some of them, they're afraid that the police brutality is going to raise its head. The Polinsky foster care system, they're going to raise their head, be out there watching, whose kids are out there. And when you're constantly being beat down and ignored and treated like you're below the ground, you get to a point where you really don't think anybody's going to listen. And there are many of them who are out there who think that you guys really don't care. And from the actions that we've seen, I'm starting to believe that there's many who don't care. But I also believe there are few that do care, and I wish those few would stand up and help these people, because I'm telling you, any day it could be us. Nobody out there planned to be out there.
You have people that's willing to stand up, but if no one's going to stand with them, they're not going to do it, because you're right. Once we do this and start that march, I can guarantee you that the backlash on that is going to be horrific. We're going to get beat up by the police. We're going to jail. Some of everything. They're going to get them up in the middle of the night, go out there and come up with the garbage trucks and take all this stuff, throw it in the garbage truck and take it to the landfill and throw it away. This is what they're going to do. They're going to take every possession that they got.
This is the perfect opportunity. If there's any attorney in the city that's listening, you hear what's going on? I'm wondering, I dare one strong, bold attorney that was willing to stand up and says, not on my turf, this is not going to happen. I'll represent every homeless person out there for this cause. If that's you, please contact me and hey, let's make that thing happen. Sorry to cut you off, but I just felt that was just the open time because there's attorneys that are there and they want to do things, but if they're not aware of what's going on.
Some attorneys are aware, but a lot of them won't do anything is because their reputation is on the line. And if they take on the homeless, it hurts their business and they turn it and they go to court, then a lot of things that won't get done and it hurts them more than it do. And so a lot of them won't touch it because of that reason, because the backlash falls on them.
I'm trusting and I'm believing that there's one humble one out there who has a heart for people, who went in to get there past the bar for the sake of helping someone. So if you're out there, please, 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 lift your head up, raise your hand and say, hey, I'll do it. And I guarantee you, man, when it's all said and done, you will be getting the ultimate round of applause because this is very much needed. Very much needed.
Everything is
Can you guys tell me some of the negatives out there that people don't know about? That we just can't even fathom. I can't fathom. What is it like to sleep all night long out in the cold, in the dark, with the elements around you? What does that feel like?
Well, basically, if you're sleeping out there, like I know, you have to sleep in a group. You have to be a group of people. That's why you see everybody sleeps in groups. Because if you're alone by yourself and you're asleep, and if you're a heavy sleeper, you're going to be a victim. So you have to sleep. That means somebody has to sleep, somebody has to stay woke.
When you say victim, what happens?
Basically, they'll catch you while you sleep by yourself. Some idiot decides that you don't need a blanket, and they take the blanket and let you freeze to death or hit you in the head with a brick or a bat.
Wow.
Because they honestly think, well, he's homeless. He laying down on all this, but we don't got nothing. And you try to take the little stuff that we do have. And then you got little things like police go mess with this guy and tell me, well, look, you go over here and do this and that. And they go over here and they do this because they are actually helping the police to run us off. Then when they end up going to jail, now the police is wrong. But you have to sleep in groups. One person have to stay woke all night to the next morning to protect everybody else that's sleeping. And this is what I used to do. Wow. I stayed woke every night, all night. It got to the point to where I couldn't go to sleep, period. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. And Richard will tell you, I'll stay woke all night, all day, all night, all day. I used to do this for like 2-3 months every day without sleeping.
That is so unfair.
Because I had so many people to take care of, to watch over. It's why so nothing would happen to them.
God bless you.
But Dr. Carroll, let's take I'm not trying to take over, but a closer look at that is this. You know, what element, they think that homelessness is just one big element. There are a lot of underlying elements. There is the criminal element. Let's be realistic about this thing. There are people who were former criminals or still have the criminal mindset out there. They're out there, they're homeless. And they're exploiting people who are just trying to make it. You know, then there are people who have pretty much, who've given up, that they believe that drugs and alcohol are the only.
It's the only way out.
It's a comfort. It's a blanket, so to speak. You know,
I can't forget about what's going on.
An emotional salve, if you will. Then you've got the people who have, and I broke it down like this. Actually, a couple hours before I saw you, I said there are unfortunately three sets of people. People who are genuinely struggling, like me and him. We want to get out of here. Mm-hmm. We're not. And then there are people who have been there so long that they're comfortable. And then there are people who are just become complacent. That's it. That's where I'm going to be the rest of my life. So be it. So but the last two elements make it difficult for a man like me or a man who genuinely desires to do something. Those elements make it difficult, but not impossible if and like you appeal to the city and those people who are, you know, in charge of those things. It's not impossible.
No, it's
Just
not.
reach out. Just reach out to us. Find out who's under that blanket. Find out who's in that tent. Find out who's in that dumpster. Find out get to know that person pushing that cart before you make that, you know, and you find out that they're a human being worth rescuing.
All we ask for is a hand up, not a hand out.
Oh, hallelujah. I'll say that again. Well, here we go, guys. That's pretty much it. I really want you all to understand that some of those people that I've met out there are people's grandmothers and mothers. There's
Kids.
handicapped. There's veterans who fought for our country. There's so many positive people out there. And this is why we are planning the march. It's called the Go, Go, Go effort. And it's going to be held on May 27th, 2016. We're going to meet on J and 16th Street. And we're going to march for that reason. If you are someone without a home or support that cause, please, please, please come down, because too many people are dying from being weather beaten. And we are all one big family. The truth is, we really can't live without each other. And those of you who have been in families where you've had everything all your life and you just cannot fathom, and wow, that is just devastating. Listen, come down a little bit. Come down and see for yourself. Embrace the love of these people. The children are beautiful. They are amazing. I look forward to seeing you all. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Take care. We're joining the fight together for the homeless community. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
How can we keep the city pretty when our infants are on the streets, people? Get these kids a place to sleep.
I got something to say.
I got something
to say.